Hey everybody, this is Ahmed Mosly from ProjectCoE.com with a very long overdue update to our stagnant YouTube channel. Yeah, I know, we haven't been there for a while. Honestly, the only reason that we're not doing this is we've been discouraged by the amount of copyright claims we're getting with each video review. And we're sort of skeptical and scared to actually post a video review, because if we do so and we get copyright claims that can be legitimate or illegitimate, our YouTube channel can be shut down. So what we're trying to do is find a way to capture our own footage and try to mix it up instead of straightforward footage and audio. I've set up an alternate channel. You see COEVRs, subscribe to that, and hopefully soon we'll have one of our staffers vote or make a video review as soon as possible. Please check out our site. We have a lot of things going on. You know, we've been posting reviews and news constantly. I'll get to one very interesting topic later. And another thing we have going on is our Reader's Choice Game of the Year Awards for 2010. We have a lot of polls, 4 categories obviously: best the genre awards and the console awards and the platform awards, and then our overall Game of the Year award. You'll notice that we're doing a couple of things differently compared to other sites. One thing is that I found really interesting to do is with the platform awards, for example, instead of being redundant and putting Assassin's Creed Brotherhood for Xbox 360 game and then for best PS3 game, we've decided to do like a best multi-platform awards for multi-platform games, mainly for multi-platform games, instead of being redundant. And the other consoles contain exclusives mostly, and we find that this will highlight the best games for each respective console, instead of being repetitive with the multi-platform games. Another thing we have going on is you can, in some categories, you could pick more than one game for your top 2, top 3. I've noted the ones that you could pick more than one game, because you find that a lot of nominations and awards are a bit too big, like up to 10 games, and it's hard to limit yourself to one pick. So it's nice to have more than 1, 2, 3, your top 3. That's what we like doing in our site as well. When we vote for our staff Game of the Year awards, we do it in that fashion instead of voting for one game only. Speaking of that, you'll see our staff awards also being posted soon. I guess we've put also a deadline by the end of the month. We've set up everything and all the votes have been done from our end, but the only thing left is to do the write-ups. So we're currently putting a thread in our private forums and assigning write-ups to each of the staffs that are active. So yeah, hopefully that goes well. For the podcast, I don't think we're gonna do one this year, because it's gonna be hard to meet up. Everybody's busy with their life. Yeah, the alternate we're living the alternate reality right now, and life is currently catching up with all of us, especially Jared and Justin, Joseph, and me as well, with medical school and all that. So yeah, hopefully that goes well. Yeah, I guess that's it with our site news. You'll notice a couple of changes. We put it on widescreen instead of limiting it to that small resolution, and a couple of generic stuff here and there. Yeah, so check it out, and please, we want more comments. We really want more comments. We know a lot of readers are coming. We're getting an average of 150 to 200 views a day, but we only have like 3 or 4 active commenters. We know most of our fan base is on YouTube, so that's why I'm making this video, trying to stream everybody to our site, comment more, interact more. We're gonna do. Obviously, we also have some contests going on. We did an Epic Mickey giveaway a couple of months ago, so tune into our site. Hopefully, we will have another giveaway for you guys soon. So my main topic of the day, after advertising everything, is I'm a bit cheesed off by the Final Fantasy XIII-2 announcement recently. I've even posted something on the site regarding that. Yeah, a lot of things actually cheese me off. First off, I didn't like Final Fantasy XIII, as a lot of all of you hardcore fans out there. mainly because the localization sucked, the voice acting sucked, and the game was linear for the first 30 hours. I tried, I couldn't, attach myself to any of the characters, to the storyline or the setting. I don't really care what's going on. So the only thing it has going is the graphics and the music and the battle system. And I just gave it a chance for 30 hours, and it's still linear. And I didn't get to that point yet. I think I'm 1 or 2 hours away. But still, I can't just, after 30 hours of just going through a tube corridor, I just didn't want to play anymore. I even tried importing the Chinese version, which contains Japanese voices but English subtitles, so I could watch it as if I'm watching an anime and not get bothered by the English voices. It's more tolerable that way. I gave it a go for 1 or 2 hours. I still couldn't get into it. I don't know what people say that it opens up in midway, but I'm just not motivated to play anymore. So that's one thing, and the sequel to that is kind of, I'm really skeptical. I don't know what Square Enix is doing. It's been just less than, they're even setting a date for 2011, which is preposterous. I mean, it's been just less than a year since Final Fantasy XIII has been released, and they've come up with a scenario that fast. I know that they could work with the same framework using the same white engine that they've been doing with the Final Fantasy XIII, but the scenario usually takes longer than that when they're making sequels and whatnot. So I don't know what they can come up with in this short time period. Whether it's coming out in the beginning, the mid, or the end of 2011, I'm just not really that excited unless they pull up 180 and deliver a good scenario, great localization, great voice acting, which I highly doubt. I really hope that they bring up the people who were responsible for Final Fantasy XII's English localization, like Alexander O. Smith, because that just wrote the book for Japanese RPG localizations, in my opinion. It was professionally done. They got some theatrical voiceovers, and the English was amazing. So I really hope that they do the same with Final Fantasy XIII, even though it's not set up in a Victorian-like era like Final Fantasy XII. It can still be localized well, at least. Something like Mass Effect II, for example, or Heavy Rain. Get people who understand video games and can adapt to the medium instead of localizing it like an anime, like what they did with Final Fantasy XIII, obviously. So yeah, from that standpoint, I'm not looking forward to it. The other thing that really kind of disappointed me is when Final Fantasy XIII was first announced a couple of years back, it was announced as a project, a Fabula Nova Crystallis. I don't know if even Square Enix even uses that anymore. So it was this project with, a world. Instead of one Final Fantasy XIII game, they're making multiple sequels or games that are attached to it. Obviously, we know about Versus 13 and Agito 13. Both games have been, under the radar and relatively unspoken of until recently with that Square Enix conference. Even Versus 13, we don't know anything about it at all. It's like they're both in development limbo. But when what I expected was, these games, they're not the same ones that has been announced years ago. They're obviously really, really different right now with the development schedule, and over 6 years, 7 years in development, I'm not really sure. But as evident, Square Enix obviously, what they did is they renamed Agito 13 to Type 0, so it's called Final Fantasy Type 0. So obviously the name doesn't make sense, but the game itself is distancing itself away from the Fabula Nova Crystallis project that they initially planned. Even though they're constantly saying that it's part of the Fabula Nova Crystallis project, but we're not calling it Agito 13, so that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why did they change the name? They should have kept it as is if they think that this project is going to succeed. So, and Versus 13, I won't be surprised if they actually rename it to Final Fantasy Versus or something like that, because it's not the same game anymore. To be honest, they've changed it so much that it doesn't contain the Final Fantasy XIII essence that they've created in the first place. So yeah, even the time setting, they've always said it's like 100 years earlier, or centuries earlier, or centuries later than Final Fantasy XIII. So if they make it its own game, it's much more logical. But obviously they want to cash in, so maybe it's possible that they actually keep up the Versus 13 name. But I think they're gonna change it, like what they did to Agito, change it to another different, make a new franchise altogether. Because in essence, the Fabula Nova Crystals project, while ambitious in the beginning, right now I think it's failed. You know, it's not the same project that they've been aiming for. On the plus side, people who were waiting for a sequel are actually getting it in the form of 13-2. But everybody's skeptical. Everybody, most people who didn't really like 13 are skeptical. What can they do to actually change it and make it better? I really hope that actually Square Enix listened to all the critics, because initially when the reception was somewhat positive, you know, a lot of media sites and media outlets reviewed it positively. I think the Square Enix sort of tricked us, like what they did with Final Fantasy X. I remember that game when I played it when it was first out in 2001. It was the most amazing thing I've ever played in my life, simply because the graphics and the lip syncing and the voice acting, everything was so new back in that day. You know, nobody even tried to use this type of cinematic gameplay like what Final Fantasy X did. But you know, it didn't. When you play it right now, it just doesn't live up to the hype anymore. You know, a lot of people couldn't see past the graphics, the pretty graphics and the pretty visual productions. So right now, when you play it, it's, you know, the voice acting. You know, it's kind of when you hear Titus or Titus or whatever his name. You know, it's kind of. I can't stand it anymore. And even Yuna and the rest of the staff, the rest of the cast of characters, they didn't live up over the years, even though I did like it back then. As evident, I think everybody should watch the Spoonie Experiments Final Fantasy X review, which spans about 5 or 6 videos. It's definitely really hilarious, and I like the fact that he, you know, highlighted a couple of things that were inconsistent regarding the story and the negatives regarding the characters and the voice acting. The battle system was good, obviously, but you know, what I'm trying to say is Final Fantasy XIII, they actually try to pull off the same stunt like what they did with Final Fantasy X. Make a really pretty game with amazing music and amazing graphics and as much voice acting as possible, but the quality-wise, I think that Final Fantasy XII was much better. It presented itself really professionally, and it really, you know, like I said, innovated English localization for Japanese RPGs. So yeah, it's unfortunate that Square Enix isn't what it used to be anymore, and I really hope that they're at least listening to everybody, all fans who are disappointed with Final Fantasy XIII. So yeah, hopefully they redeem themselves with this sequel, but yeah, I'm gonna remain skeptical as usual. So I guess that's it with this video update, and look forward to more soon. This is Ahmed Mosly signing out.